Once again, thank you all for coming this afternoon to the Andrea Audio Adapters presentation. I will start now. We will no doubt get one or two others who join as we go along. So hopefully they'll be able to catch up. This won't be an incredibly long presentation, but it is one that certainly I and Andrea get asked about a lot. And that concerns the audio adapter range that we now do. There's quite a few of them, but they still mystify a lot of people. So I hope to unravel a lot of that mystification this afternoon in this webinar. So straight away, I'll kick off with the first little adapter that we do, and this one is called the C100. Oh, and before I go any further, I'll show you something. This is sort of the conventional headset, if you like, with the conventional two plugs. I developed an anagram that certainly helped me for all the times that I've needed to know which plug is which. And it's quite simple. The anagram is PIGO, PIGO. So it's one for you all to remember. And it stands for pink in, green out. It's as simple as that. So the pink in is obviously the mic and the green out is the speaker. So there's one for you to remember. PIGO, P-I-G-O. Okay, so this first little adapter, the C100, is quite a useful one because if you look at that connector, the plug, it's got 4 poles, and because it's got 4 poles, it's 3.5 mil. It's known as a TRRS connector, and that's the plug that will plug into a lot of mobile devices, tablets, iPads, etc., etc. So it's a single plug that will take in the audio, i.e. microphone, and push out audio, which is the speaker. So it's a speaker mic single plug. So instead of having those 2 plugs for an iPad, you would just have 1 plug, and usually it's a black plug. It's not usually color coded in any way. As I said there, that adapter can be used to convert conventional headsets that have 2 3.5mm plugs into one single TRRS connector. And we always use, all our adapters use gold-plated plugs. That just gives them longevity. They're very hard-wearing little units, and they can take a lot of plugging in and out without any degradation. So that's the C100, one to remember. The next one I want to talk about is the C200, and that essentially does the reverse to the C100. So this unit will accept a TRRS connector. So it's a headset, for example, that that would normally plug into, say, an iPad or an iPhone or an Android phone, etc., etc. And it converts it into 2 separate plugs, one being a mic plug and the other one being a speaker plug. And because you now know PIGO, you know that the pink plug that's coming out there is the mic plug, and the green plug is the speaker plug. The interesting thing about that little converter is we do supply one with the SG110M microphone that's used a lot in DSA circles. We do supply that adapter with it, but it's usually a one-piece adapter. It's not like that. So that means that you can plug in the TRRS connector and have it come out as a mic plug. In this case, you'd only be using the mic plug, for instance, a digital recorder, which uses a standard 3.5mm record jack plug. So that's the C200 adapter. Any comments, please put them up, but I hope you understand that it's pretty straightforward so far. The next one, again, is very, very simple. It's a green plug, so therefore it's a speaker plug. And what this unit does, it will basically convert a single headphone socket into two female sockets. So what that enables you to do is to feed two sets of headphones if you want to use them from one audio source. Sometimes it's handy, sometimes the teacher likes to hear the audio that's coming out as well as the student. So you could use this little adapter here called the Y100. Again, it's got the gold plated material on the plugs, so it's very, very tough and reliable. They never give problems. Once we supply these, that's usually it. We never hear from them again. So that's the Y100. Very, very useful if you want to use two headphones from one speaker source. This is one that's becoming more and more popular. It's actually called the C400. Now the C400 adapter essentially converts the standard USB plug that we're all used to what's called a USB-C plug. And this particular plug, C plug or USB-C socket, is becoming to be a standard on just about all modern units. There's a lot of them using it now, including certainly all the MacBooks. They only use USB-C. So MacBook Air and all the other MacBooks and Chromebooks would use a USB-C socket. So what this does, it enables certainly all of our USB headsets to be connected to things like a Mac, for example, a modern Mac. Again, it's a very handy little adapter, and it's just a very short lead. You can't actually see it there, but it's about 3-4 inches long, that's all. It's not very long at all. And its main function is purely to make those adaptions. Okay, sorry, Stuart, sorry. No problem at all, Stuart. Bit late, but you'll get the whole presentation. We're actually not far off the end. As I say, it's just a quick presentation to go over a few different connectors. I will just backtrack actually, just to help Stuart. So the C100 is an adapter that converts two plugs, mic plug and speaker plug, into a single TRRS plug for use with units such as iPads and the older iPhones, etc., etc. C200 is the reverse of that. It will take in a TRRS plug and output two separate plugs, speaker plug and a mic plug. The Y100 is simply a headphone splitter, if you like, so you can feed two headphones from one speaker socket. And this is the USB to USB-C converter that I was just talking about. So just to recap, the USB-C socket is being used now on an awful lot of modern equipment. And most of them, a lot of them, the really new ones, are using this as a standard. So you won't see the old USB type plug being used so much on brand new equipment. It's still there on a lot of them, but some of them, certainly Macs, they've sort of dropped the standard USB plug just about universally, I think. So C400 converts standard USB to USB-C. Very, very useful little unit. The next adapter I want to talk about is the Edu-USB. Essentially what this is a digital sound card built into that little square block you can see there. So it completely bypasses the laptop or the desktop's internal microphone and audio circuitry. It's very, very good, and because it's a digital card, the audio is exceptionally good actually. So if you have an old laptop or an old desktop with no USB, you might have USB facilities, you of course need USB, but if you have an old headset, for example, with connectors such as this one, this has sort of got two connectors on it, one for the mic and one for the speakers, then you can simply plug those in to that little adapter, and that will convert that headset then into USB. So it's by far the best way to do it. You then, certainly for Dragon use, if you have an old headset, for example, that you want to use for Dragon, then you really should be using one of these adapters. It makes an enormous difference to the transcription reliability. So that's the Edu-USB. Again, if you remember, pink and green sockets. So pink is in and green is out. Don't forget that, it's very useful. Okay, this one is much the same as the previous one. It's called the USB-Univ, and it's got the same pink and green socket that you can see. So it will take the analog inputs and convert them to USB again. But if you look closely, it's got another black socket in the middle, and this black socket will accept a single point TRRS plug. So again, it's a very useful way of converting. For example, it can be used to convert the SG110M microphone, which has a single TRRS plug on it. You can plug that into the middle socket on this little adapter, and it will then convert the mic to be a USB mic. So again, it's an extremely good microphone that can be used for all sorts of purposes. And it works well with, say, if you had a laptop and you want a good directional microphone, then use this little adapter, as long as the laptop has got a standard USB port, of course. Use this little adapter with the SG110M microphone, and you have an extremely good directional mic. It works really well in lecture hall type situations. I don't think there's much else to say about that, but that's a pretty new one. Basically got 3 sockets on it instead of the conventional 2. There is only one other adapter, and that is called the USB-MA. And this unit specifically will adapt a standard microphone with a 3.5mm jack to USB. So you can't use this on the SG110 because it has a TRRS jack plug. But if you have a standard microphone, then I don't know why you would, but if you do, then you can use this little adapter. It just adapts the microphone again to USB, so it's using all the digital circuitry in there to convert that microphone into a digital input. And again, it's bypassing all the laptop or desktop's internal audio circuitry. Okay, I think that's about the last, yes, that is the last one. So all these little adapters again can be purchased or quoted by the usual systems. So the Class Westminster quote system run by Paul Dilley, the AT quote system run by Tom Woodward, and all DSA equipment suppliers. They can all quote on these little adapters if you should need one. So there's not much more for me to say. This really was always going to be quite a short presentation, but it's a very quick one, and I hope you've gained something anyway from these little adapters. Always useful to know where they are if you want one. If you get stuck for a connection problem, usually there's one there that will help sort it out. So once again, many thanks for attending today, and I will very shortly be taking questions. And then I think that just about wraps up the 4 presentations that I've done in the last 2 weeks. If anyone wants the links, I can now, by the end of today, I should have them all up and running on YouTube. So I'm quite happy to send them out to whoever wants them, and you can forward them to anyone. Also, if you want the certificate for attending today, that's no problem at all. Just drop me an email and I'll be quite happy to send you a certificate.